we are watching BWTV. I'm Arjun Yadav, and today I'm joined by Mr. Garrett Ilg, who's the President, Japan and Asia Pacific Region, Oracle. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for your time. And he's going to talk to us about the company's financial performance in recent quarters, in recent fiscals, some of the recent developments related to cloud security, the macroeconomic headwinds that have been affecting the industry, and some of the recent partnerships that the company has been forging and that has been bringing in success for its customers. Mr. Garrett, my first question to you. You took over just before the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Give us a sense of how has been the financial performance since you've taken over, and what have been some of the growth drivers for the company during this time, during these 2 years?
Well, you're right about the fact that I took over just before COVID. I literally signed on April 1st, and I spent the first 6 months working with the team in the region when I was living on the East Coast of the United States, so I was off the time zone. But as we got through August and things started to open up, I was able to move into the region, move to Singapore, and then since that point I have been in the region working with the teams across Japan and Asia Pacific. The pandemic itself created some challenges, mostly in the ability to engage with customers, but through an incredible effort, both with our partners and customers, and of course our team, we were able to work and move the business forward. What was really exciting was that the enthusiasm for customers to go through transformations, to engage in digital architecture and talk about how they could solve their challenges with technology did not dampen. If anything, it accelerated. One of the more interesting points I've seen, though, that since the pandemic has invaded, that passion to transform, to innovate, to create secure and most importantly, private connections with their customers and be very careful about the way they manage data has actually gone even more and more. And what's really fun is we're talking about technology, but it's still all about people. Right. Customers are trying to engage more, they're trying to be more specific, they're trying to be more direct with their value proposition, but they also have to operate in environments that are much more velocity, much more scale, particularly here in India where everything is becoming very digital. So what's the answer to doing that? Utilize technology. So that's a great opportunity for companies like Oracle, but also I think it's a great opportunity for our customers to do better, more, and more cost effectively engage with their customers.
Right, thank you so much. You know, before I get into some specifics, I'll talk about some of the trends on security, right? And the reason I'm asking this is that just yesterday, India's financial regulator, capital markets regulator, SEBI, said that government should use cloud service providers which are MeitY impaneled by the Ministry of Electronics. And your company is one of them.
That's correct.
Give us a sense about that empanelment, what that means, and in general also what Oracle is doing when it comes to ensuring secure cloud computing.
Well, first of all, I think it is the responsibility, and it's great to see that the governments are taking that responsibility to demand secure infrastructure. Because digital information is very fluid. It can go anywhere because it's digital. It's not like paper, it's not like print. But having said that, the requirements are not just from the government on down. It's also that of the vendors to take that responsibility and bring that capability in their technology to the market. Oracle takes this very seriously, so seriously that we actually stopped and we looked at the engineering and the architecture of our technology years ago and recognized that we had to rebuild some things. We had to build our application layer from native cloud. Moving from on-prem to a managed service wasn't good enough. Right. A lot of vendors keep their on-prem technology, they engage a third-party cloud company, and they say, well, we're in the cloud. Right. Well, yes, they are, but it's still an on-prem application. It's just sitting in someone else's data center. Right. Oracle took a different approach, and we created cloud-native architecture where the application layer sits in the same environment as our public cloud, as well as our private clouds. And the benefit to the customers, they have a secure platform, not just a secure application. The infrastructure starts with security, and then they build scalability. They build the application layer, the engagement layer, and the activation layer on top of that. And so what you have, and Oracle takes this very seriously, is the ability to go, whether it's in a public sector environment or a commercial environment, and provide the same level of security to that customer and of course to their end customers, whether they're citizens or enterprise, and do so and transact, engage, exchange, activate, do all the things that you do with data in a secure environment where the security is always on. We use the word zero trust, not in a negative way, but in a positive way, and that don't trust someone to turn the security switch on or off. leave it on all the time, and that will help protect your infrastructure, which ultimately helps protect your data.
Right. Garrett, you rightly pointed out how you have created that secured architecture, but that comes through a skilled workforce, and there's a lot of cultural change that has been going on since you've taken over. Give us a sense of the hiring practices and the upskilling practices that have been done to ensure that we have that secured cloud computing.
That's a really great question, and one of the things that I've seen, and it's not just my team and I driving this is a global initiative within Oracle, is that we've created a new responsibility in the company, and this is over the last couple of years. They're cloud architects, and what we've done is we've brought a completely new skill set into the company. It's a value-add proposition where it's not part of our consulting. There's no scope, there's no charge. What we do is we engage with customers, recognizing the fact that we've got to bring architecture into the conversation, not just features, functions, and price. All that's important, but you have to bring architecture to the customer because they need a plan. They don't just need a feature. They need a strategy, not just a function. And what we've found with customers is that they understand their business, they understand what's happening around them, but technology is very complex. And even if they're dealing with one vendor, they need to look beyond that vendor and understand how it impacts everything else in their ecosystem. Oracle brings this cloud engineering team that we have in all of our geographies to the customer so they can look at the architecture of what they're trying to design, how it impacts the infrastructure, not just the applications, but the workflow, and then how we deliver that in a secure, scalable, and cost-effective environment.
Right. Now, if I talk about India specifically, you've been really bullish on, let's say, the SMB space or the startup space. Are there any additions in terms of sectors where you're seeing that boom to come, where Oracle is bullish apart from these two sectors? And how do you plan to, further the digital agenda of India?
Well, one of the things that we do at Oracle, and I think this is something that's deep in our culture, is that we don't just look at the size of the customer, we also look at the verticalization, because real time in a bank or a manufacturing environment or a service company is very different, so as is the dependency on technology. So what we do is we understand that everything is mission critical to all customers with regards to technology, but there's different levels of mission critical as well. And of course, that impacts the cost and the affordability of the technology. So what Oracle has done, and I think we've done a great job of this in India, but also in other countries around the world, is that we have the offerings that are very specific to segments such as financial institutions, manufacturing, service, healthcare, travel and hospitality, and we deliver different capabilities of ERP in the financials, human capital management, customer engagement, because certain priorities are different in certain verticals. But we also understand and respect that certain customers, not just in size, but in their evolution, have different requirements of technology. So while we deliver large mission critical infrastructure, we also deliver NetSuite, which is an incredibly powerful package, great standards-based architecture to companies in the SME space so that they can do what's important. For example, whether you're a big or small bank, you still have to do treasury reporting and risk management. So you can't really de-emphasize that based on the size. On the other side of that, if you're in a non-regulatory environment and you're in a space that is evolving, you need technology to make sure you have control of your infrastructure, security around your data. Because if I'm an enterprise, big or small, my customers' data must be protected, and Oracle takes that very seriously.
Right, you very rightly pointed out your vision for India. Now, if I take a broader look for the region, can you tell us about some of the important partnerships that have been able to bring in success for those customers in the region at large?
Absolutely. Well, I'll start with India because many of our India partners that we partner with inside of India are also global. So we work very hard to make sure that we're working with them in India, in Asia, across the Americas, and in EMEA. And we're building programs, certifications. We have things like catalyst programs to help them get on the new technologies, maybe to go from database to applications or database to analytics, or go into the cloud with us. And this is going really well because our partnerships are not only going deeper and deeper with customers and partners, but they're going broader as the Oracle platform becomes more useful to their business and becomes something that they want to investigate in. In Asia Pacific and Japan, we also have a lot of cloud partnerships. One of the things that Oracle is doing very unique is we've built a cloud architecture through a technology called Fast Connect, where we can engage and integrate with other clouds. A lot of hyperscalers say, of course, multi-cloud environment's important. Ultimately, companies will have multiple clouds, but they're just thinking of it from a perspective, well, I'll send my data to them and they'll send their data to me. Oracle is the first company to actually produce a product. It's called Fast Connect, where we can integrate to another cloud, to Azure, to AWS, and there'll be more in the future, where the data doesn't just dump into that cloud or receive a dump back. It's actually got integrity, it's got security, it's got schema, it's got ID, and we protect that so that it can be a process managed flow of information, but we do so with incredible speed, almost no latency, and a very powerful compute capability that Oracle, working with the other cloud providers, can deliver a better outcome to that customer had they just stayed with that other cloud by itself.
Right. Thank you, Garrett. Garrett, we're living in a very different macroeconomic environment.
Yes.
It's in high inflation, although yesterday the US inflation showed some signs of cooling. And the stock markets rallied. But in general, how do you see these macroeconomic headwinds affecting the industry at large in the year?
So I have the benefit of age. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I've been in business for almost 40 years. And one of the things I've seen is that whether it is geopolitical disruption, currency, interest rates, there's just always something happening in the world. And one of the things I think, and this is more so a message for the young people, we'll get through it. We just got to work our way. We have to stay focused, and we have to plow ahead. Some things that are very difficult, such as the friction between some of the nations around the world, or the political opinions of different leaders impacting the markets. These are events, and then you have more challenging cycles, such as the economic cycles. Everything's not always up, but it's also not always down. Right now, we have a combination of all of that. We've got inflation, we've got interest rate challenges, we've got economic buffers, we've got geopolitical issues, and we've got a war out in between Russia and the Ukraine. What I would tell you is that the enterprises and the people of those enterprises that stay focused on the mission, and the mission is the customer success, the outcome. They stay focused on themselves, they learn, they engage, they work themselves up, they build their passion for what they do, whatever that might be. And then they go and drive that forward, they will succeed. They will get through the hard times.
Absolutely. Garrett, my last question to you. Please. What are some of these trends that you see when it comes to cloud computing in the year ahead, and how do you see Oracle leveraging them or shaping them, materializing them in the year ahead?
Well, I think the first thing is that the most valuable asset that a company has, obviously its brand and its people, but right up there in that category is its data. Now, the power of data is not in the amalgamation and the gathering of data. It's in the utilization. It's taking it out and putting it into an application infrastructure and pushing it out so it can be activated. Whether you're building segments, or you're doing campaigns, or you're looking at your financials, or you're planning your business, or you're managing your people. The power of Oracle is that we are the data company in the world. And we have a long history of this. We have an incredible relationship with our customers around the world, and not just database, but moving it out into analytics, taking it out across our cloud. Most cloud companies don't have data. Most data and application companies don't have cloud. We have both. And then, of course, taking it out and making it usable through AI and ML. I think the future of technology, and this is the near future, next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a more prominence around artificial intelligence and machine learning. That doesn't work if you don't have data. You can have the best algorithm in the world, but if you don't have data to put into it, it's not very powerful. But the more data you have, and the better that data is, the better you'll be able to run your business and manage your business. The consistency of bringing it through an integrated platform like Oracle has with our cloud native applications, our Generation 2 Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, our very secure, very powerful database, and then through the analytics out into our infrastructure, and then through to the customer, that's going to be a winning combination that I think companies that we can work with and support are going to be able to progress with.
Garrett, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you very much.
And for your time, and for giving us an in-depth vision of the company and your authentic commentary on the industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good day.